Hey, I'm back. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh yeah, we left off right at the... Oh, it's autosave, nice. We left off right at recess, if I remember correctly. So let's just get started. Let's finish up this first case. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright, to suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it true? The truth? Well now, I think you would know the answer to that. Being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. I see you haven't mellowed. No, I see you haven't mellowed out one bit, Kristoff. Justice. Yes, sir. The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? Ah, you're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket. Here, you can take a look. It's the picture of my daughter in there. Pretty! I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps we'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago. What I did. It's not unreasonable of you to think I might cheat. I never, honestly, but it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Eh? You see, poker is all about reading your opponents. In that way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker! This is like a trial law. Figure out what your opponent is thinking and you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a valuable source of information. You're kidding! That witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? Oh no. Come on, who noticed that? Words, habits, twitches. It's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass that secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals. His hair is like antennas, so it like picks up actual signals. You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will soon. Ominous? I almost forgot one more thing. About this case. You should know I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. I knew it. I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there defending me. I need your power. I am... Power? I had no idea my words of steel are that special. It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best. I do remember... Oh. Well, it was useless. We continued. I did have a problem with this while playing it a long time ago. Yes, continue. It's just, this just comes out of nowhere. They don't even bother explaining it, which I guess kind of makes sense. No, actually doesn't. I mean, they did explain the mechanic in the third game. Court will now reconvene. Has our witness, Miss Olga Orley, recovered? Yes, Your Honor. Or, well, she regained consciousness. Perhaps we can hear her version of the events again. That's the thing, you see. She's quite fatigued. Look at it. Fatigued yourself, Miss Payne. Mr. Payne. Ugh. Sadly, fatigue is insufficient grounds of refusing to testify or prosecute. Defense would like to request that Miss Orley take the stand. Very well, the witness will take the stand. Perhaps you could repeat your name and profession? Or perhaps you'd rather admit that you're a poor liar and a poor loser. Nay. Not. She's a pirate. Name's Olga Orly. That's the truth. I'm a pro dealer. People call me Olga Quick Fingers Orly. Want to know something else? I'm not really Russian, and my last name sounds like O'Reilly. There, that's the truth. I hope you're satisfied. Witness! You will tell the court what you really were up to that night. She does look like a dealer. Fine, I'll talk. We had a plan, you see. Let me remind you that you are currently under oath. Any further fabrications will have serious consequences. Fine. Like I said, I'm a pro. That guy Smith hired me to do what I do best. I was planted at the Borscht Bowl Club several days prior to the night of the club as a waitress. So you were in cahoots with the victim. Not that he needed my help. Smith is a well-known poker player in some circles, but winning wasn't the main purpose of the game. It's about destroying a legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. The plan was simple, elegant really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. It was murder. Let's plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. Then when their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search for it. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would be snapped shut. That's not really a good plan. You swap the cards. That's not really a good plan. I don't know how they're supposed to slip the card into his pocket if he always has his hands in his pockets. Exposed as a cheater and losing it on top of it, it would have made a great double play. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Indeed. Getting caught red-handed at the cheating would cast doubt on all your prior wins. A 7-year legend destroyed by one little card. That was the plan. Oh really, Orly? How droll. But it appears you made quite a mistake. A mistake? I agree that the trap was elegant, yet what happened to the planted card? That's right! He's lucky, I'll give him that. You'd have to be able to slip free from a trap laid by Olga Quick Fingers or the name. Oh really? A witness would be much cuter if she dispensed that evil mastermind stick. Cute? Who wants to be cute? I'm not cute. I'm bad. You hear me? Bad? It's dumb. When you're through being bad, perhaps you could testify to the court. Tell us about this trap and how it was sprung. The best laid traps. That night I planted the card like I was supposed to, and Wright lost the hand just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him, but the planned card was gone, the trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. It wasn't me who hit Smith, it was the no-good cheating defendant. Surprisingly frank testimony that leaves us mostly in the dark. Trap was perfect, I tell you. Perfect! If that rotten cheater hadn't messed it up. Look who's talking! Well, the testimony for what's worth is all yours, Mr. Justice. A witness like her needs criminals. And with defendants like Mr. Wright, it needs prosecutors. Best laid trap ever. The night I planted the card like I was supposed to. What evidence do I have? It's been a while. 2 AM, April 7th, caused death from a single blow to the forehead. Oh, the contradictory would be that he was sitting. Straight lost his last hand just like he was supposed to. Smith searched him. So, everything went according to plan. Exactly. The 5th ace came up, so it's obvious the switch went off without a hitch. Once the extra card was found in his pocket, Wright would be forever known as a cheat and a fraud. And there are worse things to be known as, I suppose. Tell us what happened with the search. The planted card was gone, the trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. Wait, isn't that a little odd? What's odd? You searched Mr. Wright thoroughly and found nothing, which means he didn't cheat, which means he had no reason to strike the victim. Well... Oh? What was that? I sensed something. Something wrong, Mr. Justice? No, nothing, Your Honor. What did he do? Should I press her a little hard? Yes, obviously. Miss Orley, you're hiding something. What are you talking about? Me, quick fingers, or hi, something? Oh, the defense will refrain from basic accusations. I have one question for the witness then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is that true? Of course it's true. I did see it, honest. I saw the whole thing. With my own eyes, I saw it. What's this weird... The witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She should touch the back... Yeah, this... Touching her neck, was it? Okay. Oh. Oh, what's going on? Sensation. It's coming to focus. There. That twitch, it's so clear. It's like I could perceive her habits, like I couldn't before. Perceive. Gotcha! Gotcha! Yeah, they don't really explain it like they do with a Magatama. Just sort of happens that he is able to do this. Miss Orley, perhaps you are unaware of this yourself. Unaware of what? Whenever you get a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand. My neck? So what? What indeed, Justice? I hadn't noticed anything of the sort. When she says that part of the testimony, she's subconsciously recalling something. Her body reacts to the memory and she touches her neck. I'm sure of it. A memory? Would someone care to explain what is back? This wouldn't fly in a regular court. This is highly unusual, but let's ask the defendant. You claim the witness was remembering something. Maybe you have the evidence of the memory that shows us. Her habit is scratching the neck whenever she talks about the moment of the crime. Ugh. So what's she reminding her most of the moment of the crime? Miss Orley, whenever you recall the crime that night, you scratch your neck. I've noticed it happen when you think about the moment of the crime. Must be some reason behind this habit of yours. You scratch your neck. I believe the weapon that left an inursurable impression on the neck is this. Maybe the bottle, wasn't it? Whenever she talks about the crime, she touches her neck. And what reminds us more of the moment than this bottle? The murder weapon. But something doesn't fit. If you were the only witness to the crime, why would they make you touch your neck like you're in pain? What is he talking about now? It was Mr. Smith, the victim, who was hit, not you. This is a cross-examination, not a cross-wild conjecture. The witness's habits, they're completely irrelevant. Justice, I'll admit, I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. I'll explain later, just trust me. Now, her only chance to break her. Miss Orley, please testify in the detail about the moment of the crime. This very moment. Yeah, I am knowing nothing. We know you're not Russian. Witness will testify, please. Now. Bah, fine. He's the one who did it. I didn't let him out of my sight until the cops got there. Next moment, I picked up the bottle and swung it. The planter guard was gone. The next moment, right picked up the... Only one of the cards is blue in the back. Much more of a red guy myself. Blue is so not red, you know. I actually don't know. Dun, 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 dun. He's the one who did it. I didn't let him out of my sight until the cops got here.
Hold it!
You seem uneasy. You try standing up here. Her eyes are darting all over the place. I must be getting warm. Tell me, after the crime, what was the defendant like? Sir, well, he must. He sat in a daze at the table until the cops came. Intriguing. You've gotten all the testimony you're going to get out of this witness. So what do you think about the testimony? I'll tell you what you think. I think her testimony is fine. It's basically bogus. It contradicts the evidence. Well, show us the evidence, Mr. Justice. There's evidence that you claim contradicts the testimony. Can't let him have his sight until the cops got here. I know there's some evidence that contradicts that. Use the way to defend it, notify the police. Yeah, it's the phone. But then, Miss Orley, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you said. It states that the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. And we know that the defendant left the room climbing the stairs and made that phone call from the first floor of the Borsk Ball Club. Ach. So explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely. The man who picked up the bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant. Ooh. Showdown time. You dirty cheat! Check his pockets, now! It's gone! The card's gone! You lose. Okay. Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle from next to right. And he hit me. Some master of cheating you turn out to be. Eek. It was a poker game. When I came to, the victim was already dead. Is that it? Why would he? It's a game of cards. Were they betting real? They weren't even betting real money, were they? That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. If it came out that I was in league with Smith, I'd be suspect for sure. Well, where does that leave us? Madness. This is madness. Am I dreaming? It must have been me who was hitting the bottle. I'm imagining all of this. Here's our prosecution as out of its wits end, and frankly, I can't blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events? Mr. Gavin, sir? I believe as the defense in this case, we are compelled to call Miss Orley a big fat liar. 3 were in that room the night the murder, the victim, the defendant, and her. She has a motive. Motive? Her plot foiled, the witness got into an argument with her client as Mr. Smith. And the denouncement of that argument was murder. What? I am no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me. What tangled webs we weave when we practice to deceive. So tangled we catch ourselves in the process. Mr. Right. Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin. What are you saying? Why not consider the other possibility? That there was another person in the room at the time of the murder. Right, like Mr. Right was saying before recess. A single card was swapped to the victim's hand after the murder, and the one who swapped the card didn't know 2 colors of cards were being used. A 4th person. Aha! This theory is again. Your fourth person doesn't exist. Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here's where there's no escape and no chance for deception. Perfect place to catch the real criminal. The real criminal? And we're in luck. The clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided to us. And right at the beginning of the trial, no less. What? Apollo, perhaps you know what I'm talking about. Sorry. Remember what I said. The fourth person who swapped the cards made one critical error. He or she wasn't considering the color of the back of the cards. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? The cards used for the last game were red. Yet, there is one person here in court who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too, but why? Well, Apollo, think you can figure out who it was? It's obvious where. Who is the fourth person? Why do I always get put in the spot like this? Let's hear what the defense has to say. Who was it? Who thought the cards were blue? Ooh, who said the cards were blue? Benedict pursued mode, Papa. That won't tell me. He's dead. Can't be him. Can't be her. Can't be him. Let's get on first rate demonstrate in my trusted mentor. Well, he's the only one. As I expected, your eyes and ears are as sharp as your hair. I was right. Christoph Gavin, you were the fourth person that night. But of course Mr. Gavin knows the color of the cards. How would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is black and white. You can't tell which of the cards are blue, the ones on the floor or on the table. But look! You can see the color in this photo. Yes, but when he said the cards were blue, it was well before his evidence came to light. Is it true the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with a victim? Yet it was only that game in the purest sense a competition, Your Honor. Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions, only the cards, their backs wraithed in blue flames know its final outcome. I'll be honest, it's been it's been days, so I do not remember that. Mr. Gavin? Gavin! Something the matter? No, nothing. Excuse me. I was just, definitely didn't murder that person. Can't say you're accusing me, are you? You know, I'd never take that stuff for it. It's gone beyond ridiculous, beyond dumb. This is insanity. The defendant accusing his own defense attorney of murder? I assure you, I'm quite sane. What possibility connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim? I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith either. Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim had never even met. Well, what if they had? Huh? There is a possibility, after all. They may have met the night before the game started. What are you suggesting? Is this the truth that Mr. Wright was staying silent about? The only one thing to do. Mr. Wright! The defense would like to request that you— Oh! The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin? Testimonies must relate to this case. How could anything happening before the game of poker be related? Oh, we caught him. I'm not sure I followed Mr. Gavin. As I explained before, the defense believes that Miss Orley— Am I to assume you speak Mr. Justice in this? He is the defense, not you. Mr. Justice, this matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you. Okay. Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony? There's no need. I'm gonna save. I want to actually see. No need. As much as I'd like to, I guess this testimony isn't related to the case. You heard what the judge said, Apollo. It's your decision. Yours. Justice, you aren't seriously considering— I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. Now we've gone this far, we might as well go all the way. The defense would likely request that Mr. Wright testify to the court. Very well, the defendant, Mr. Wright, will take the stand, please. Appetite before murder. That evening, Christoph and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. When the trap failed, Mr. Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold, and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin. Mr. Gavin, you were at the Borscht Bowl Club the night of the murder? I dined with him rather frequently. And he talked to the defendant directly on the phone directly after the murder? Not against my will, I had become involved in a murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all along, weren't you, Wright? Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial. The only thing I want is the truth. I did back then, and now. I thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. It appears that I was wrong. Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness. Justice? Sir? He's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. Mr. Gavin, Mr. Wright, this can't end well. Why can't I have a normal trial? Appetite before murder. That evening, Christopher and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. That evening, Christopher and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. You made the call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down in the hideout. Was anyone else on the first floor at the time? Not a soul. It was in the middle of the night after all. So there in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. It didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another call to the investigator. Can you explain why you called Mr. Gavin? I'd obviously gotten involved in a rather sticky affair. I figured Christoph Law's office would give me a friend rate for my defense fees. Ah, glad to hear you intend to pay. Oh, I'll pay in full, Christoph. It was I who got you involved after all. You may find that price of your defense quite high, my good friend. Quite high. That's the truth that Ms. Wright was talking about. What you have to do. He's lying, expose him. I know. You had dinner with Mr. Gavin? Yes, he dined with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. We're enjoying our usual dinner at a usual spot, as usual. I was at the table closest to the piano. I see, where Mr. Smith was sitting. Indeed, it was the remnants of the meal with Christoph. We dined for 2 hours, and Christoph left after that. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. 5 minutes? The two of them could have passed the restaurant during that time. That would have been a fateful encounter for sure. Hee ha. Oh, Mr. Wright, what was it you said? Christoph, Gavin, and Shady Smith may have met? I believe I did say that. Yeah, I was all nervous about this meeting. Now we hear we're just passed at the hall. It does seem a little weak as a pretense for murder. Oh, it would be if that were all that really happened. Come on, Mr. Wright. What are you hiding this time? The trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl knocked out cold and Smith was left inconsolable, and I left to call the police. I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from the cut on his forehead. Hat removed during the investigation. It would be one of these two, wouldn't it? Blood was streaming. Yeah, it's stream. This stream is wrong.
Objection!
Oh, no, I got it wrong. Ow! When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. It's this one I'm assuming then.
Objection!
No, okay. They're both right, though! Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes. Take a look at this photograph of the crime scene. See the victim here? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead. Good point. Oh. Justice! Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court? Forgot to mention something. I was the one who put that hat on his head. You put the hat on the head of the dead man's head? You wore through our entire poker game. After calling the police, when I returned to the scene, his head was in full view, shining bright, just like in this photograph. Yeah. I picked his hat off the floor and put it on his head. Why would you do such a thing like that? All I can say is I'm sorry. That's tampering with evidence. It's the only thing I can touch with a scene crime. That's a lie, I think. It being the victim's his head. I think not. She was out cold. I think that was the only one who witnessed his head. Here we go again. Mr. Gavin. Pardon me. It seems that our client has determined to lie his way through this case. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? In any case, please continue this cross-examination. I'm afraid the decisive contradiction calls for decisive evidence. Oh? Push him harder, Justice. Break him. Just you and the witness on the ring. Go for the KO. When I get the feeling we're not on the client's side anymore. As the evening customer dined, he sat at the table with photographs. Freddie Smith walked in. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold. He was dead, blushing from his forehead. That's when I made another phone call. Is it an inconsistency if you only called once? That's when I made another call.
Objection!
Nope. So I made another call. Dead from the contest for us. I made another call. Well, that's how I did. So the table was photographed. You had dinner with Mr. Gavin. Yes, he dines with me at the porch. I already did this, I think. Yeah, I already did this. The trap failed and Smith hit the waitress. About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga Orley mentioned. The plan was simple. We already did this. Played a card in his pocket. We already did this. You swapped the cards. Just like that, the legend would be dashed into pieces. Yes. Harmless prank in essence. It was by a quirk of fate that I happened to discover it. Quirk. Happened to be put in my hand in my pocket. Found a card. Yeah. The card she planted. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card. Before the game. Disposed? Where? It was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. An empty bottle of grape juice. A murder weapon. Yes, I rolled it up and shoved it in. The colored glass makes it hard to see. Battle of wits between the deceiver and the would-be deceived. That sounds like a terrific drama. Card inside of the murder weapon, that's strange. Police missed it in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look. It's alright. Pokerhead of courtroom number 3 approves of this battle of wits. Please revive your testimony with this new information. I discovered the trap during the game and disposed of it in the card in the bottle. Bottle? There's no card in here.
Objection!
There's no card in this bottle. That's alright if I may. Yes. I've examined the bottle and, I don't see any card in here. No? What? This surely isn't all you have to say for yourself. I can't say that I know what happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle, however. Perhaps a 5th person came in and took it out, and the 6th person got it out. It's alright, Mr. Gavin, your client. Apologies, Your Honor. I love you're just disregarding our investigation either. We looked into the inside of that bottle, there's nothing. Is Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? Or did the card just disappear? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Evan? The witness's testimony is more like a travesty and riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you come to lose your attorney badge 7 years ago. Oh. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Kristoff. I never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone. Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's now or never. Don't be misled, I haven't told a single lie here. When I noticed the trap, I put the card in the bottle to dispose of it. And when I put the hat in the victim's head, just they had a reason for doing all of that as well. Reason? The reason is right here. Your cell phone. That night, all that I spoke with the defense attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case I recorded our conversation. Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't have played it back to the court. Didn't he just do this at the beginning? Kristoff, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. A gentleman who challenged you turned out to be good. He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him. Hard. I mean, someone cracked that flawless bone china plate? It wasn't you, wasn't it? Me? Please. The cop should be here any minute. In your hands. Should it come to that. Bone china plate? The porcelain, very smooth and shiny, and not plate, but pat. He's really mean. I believe he's referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead. He's really mean. Quite appreciates the defendant's desecration of not indicating my forehead. Wait a second, something's not right here in this photo at all. Call. After Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club. Most certainly. Then how did he know? When did he see this bone china pate? Pate? Let's do pate. Yes, that was when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Smug smile. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. And when I spot Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court? Exactly how you didn't come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So, this is how the reason why you put the victim's hat back on? Your point, Mr. Gavin. It's come down to this, has it? Phoenix, right? Order. I will have order. Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear Defense Attorney Gavin's testimony? Well, as the prosecution, Very well. We'll break for 10 minutes, after which Mr. Gavin will take the stand for a cross-examination. Are we all clear on that? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Very well. This will be the final recess for the day. Ugh. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chambers. Who'd have thought today would turn out to be like this? May I? Oh, it's Mr. Wright's daughter. Hello, sir. Please pick a card. What? Is this one okay? Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. Trump card. I will make it. A trump card? The card you have chosen is magical. It's been laced. Use it wisely, and the game is yours. That's all. Oh. Where did I remember that card? That's a missing card, right? Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces and Mr. Wright has 2. It is 5 aces in all. It is true, I have seen it, the 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you. Missing 5th ace. Wait, this blotch of it's ketchup. You have your trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw the true. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it. This bloodstained card is my trump card for finding the truth. I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. That girl, I'd seen her recently, but where? You lock it! That's when I made the connection. Lock it! Bloody ace added to the court record. Court will now reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Now then, if you would, Miss Payne. Yes, Your Honor. Is this farce necessary, Your Honor? Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing you need to have made it clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat? The secret? I'm guessing it means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity, but what is this about this fellow's head? The owner seems to have an inordinate interest in it. Oh! I thought that was Apollo. I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin. I'll actually turn this up. Thank you. Mr. Wright? What do you think you're doing, Mr. Wright? Things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night. Never once taken it off, except for that one time. That one time being the instant he was hit? Oh. Mr. Wright, that's yours. I don't actually know if he took it off. It's just Mr. Wright's statement. Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime. The hat was laying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald, isn't that? It's not fabrication, is it? It's tampering, but isn't that leading? Because no, it's entrapment, isn't it? Mr. Smith's bald head. You would have had, yeah. Wouldn't that be entrapment? Because like he figured out that Gavin most definitely probably murdered Mr. Smith, and when he went to see that his head was uncovered by the hat and he just put it back on, wouldn't that be entrapment? Because he said something in court that, well, whatever. He would have had to been there in the hideout at the time of the crime. Oh yeah. In other words, I must be the real killer. Is that what you're trying to say? Not bad, Apollo. Hee ha 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 ha. Mr. Gavin. I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court. What? Oh, I assure you, I had the noblest of intent. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. See, I'm afraid in this current situation, I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night. Finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night? Witness testimony. The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked through the little window to the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. Victim was dead as he appeared in the photo. A bald head and unconscious girl on the right, holding the bottle in his hand. Since that was not the best place for me to be at the time, so I left. That's when the call came from Mr. Wright. So, you witnessed the murder? For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed. Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team? Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client. What else could I say? I'm sitting on the witness stand after all. So you are, Mr. Gavin. And you had to testify as you just did. You had to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright? You had to say that, because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo? Oh. Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared? Yes, Your Honor. But we go up against Mr. Gavin. This trial is getting weirder and weirder. Isn't it? Isn't it that he had to make the call upstairs? That's when the call... Where were you when the phone call came? I had already left the Portugal Club by the time. On the phone, he asked me to defend him. Naturally, I was surprised. I accepted. However, I couldn't abandon him. So kind of you. So far, everything that jives with Mr. Wright's testimony, I think. Is going to be a problem for your cross-examination. You're the boss. This is the time you never pulled punches in custody. It was you, Mr. Gavin. I learned it from watching you.
Hold it!
Little window. You mean the one you used to keep the watch up the Oh. I thought it was outside. Yes, a relic of an ancient past. The black marketers used it, I believe. Why did you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier to just open the door and go into the room? I didn't want to upset Wright, you see. Set Mr. Wright? Yes, what if my fears had been unfounded? I'd be walking in on a match. Bad form, to say the least. Or everything he says makes sense. That's been played. Right after the murder, the place took... Police restaurant on the first floor. An unconscious girl on the right holding the bottle on his hand. This bottle. Bottle in his hand. I sensed that it was not the best place for me to be at the time, and so I left. That's when the call came from Mr. Wright.
Hold it!
Wouldn't it have been better to wait for the police to have arrived? Remember though, by the time I was already doesn't. Confused. Well, what happened next? Bald head and a right holding a bottle in his hand.
Hold it!
Those were the only three at the scene of the crime. Yes, as far as I saw at least. Back to where we started. The killer was the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police? 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend.
Objection!
Oh, there must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. I just said I saw no one, not a soul. Oh, that goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah yes, this mysterious 4th person. Wouldn't it be advantageous to him to say that there was a shadowy figure there? Well, no, then It poses a question. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap cards in the victim's hands? Perhaps you can show us the reason why such a thing would be necessary. We have the card. Well, Mr. Justice, the question is why the killer would swap the card in regions. Show evidence! Now or never. The defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why the card was swapped out. Oh, because he was hit in the back of the head? No. Why would they take the card? Why did the killer take the... Why would they take this? I get the blood stain, yeah.
Take that!
My reason is, this! Is that an ace? Why it's got blood on it! Right next to the spade. What? Uh-oh. This is insane. Why isn't I told about this? Why? Could this be the missing fifth ace? Inconceivable. How could you? What are you doing with that card? Well, that's the thing. Why is Gavin so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card, it's mine. As I picked it up at the Force Club that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock and trade after all. No, impossible, unacceptable. This court can't accept this as evidence. It's a fraud. Fraud? How can you be so sure? What? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Real card. Allow me to elaborate. This trace of blood was the reason. Reason 4. For the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime. Where are you going with this? We now look at this photo. The victim's head. Over the crime, his hat fell on the floor. A trickle of blood ran from his forehead down to the back of his head. Could it have dropped from that blood and fallen on the one of the cards? I suppose. The killer then took the card and died of blood.
Objection!
Regardless, the evidence is non-permissible. Oh? Right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh? We can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I've answered your... That's not how the previous games work! They conceal evidence to present, What are you talking about? I wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene. And now I've told you. One drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see.
Objection!
This is baseless conjecture. Baseless!
Objection!
Oh, I assure you, it's quite based. What? It's amazing, really, how a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head. Ooh. 3D. The murder weapon took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. Gah. Before the killer swapped cards, there's a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene. What is it? Let's keep it a simple shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on the card. Whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims, the killers, the waitress, the second witness. Whose position doesn't fit with the bloody card? It'll be the victim, because he has his head to the wall. Oh.
Take that!
Well, isn't it the victim's position that's the problem? I don't follow your logic, Mr. Justice. Well, look. The victim's head struck... Do you think of any... dying... Under the table in front of him. Take a look at this photo again. If he bled in this position, the blood would fall on the floor, not the cards. That's right. What does that mean? Incidentally, we were sitting in the swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh man. Well, I'll try turning the chair around. Wait, can I grab it? Ah, I can't grab the chair. Oh, I can! The chair was facing the other way. It would have to be. This is cool. So we have to assume that at the time of the murder, the victim's chair was facing away from the table. How do you do that? Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, why was the chair facing? When they came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in this photo. Does that mean the killer turned the chair back around? Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We know the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction. Again, poor Payne, he's just like, he hasn't said a word into this. He's being strung along. Although whose logic on the diagram contradicts our new understanding? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses. Every threat, the witnesses were in it.
Take that!
Well, that doesn't make sense. It's the second witnesses. I mean, they say I don't make sense. No, of course you do, sir. As I thought. Help. A little hard of hearing. Did you just say something? Would you be kind enough to show the court one more time what you mean? Whose location has our new understanding of crime? The killer. Killers?
Take that!
The victim is struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front, sitting where his indicator currently is? I would think it would be quite hard, yes. Yes, but what are you saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game? I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light. There is something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look at the diagram, and look again for this diagram. While if the victim was struck from where he was sitting as shown down here, where does this Santa be standing? Try working out the closet. Don't worry, let's think it through and see what we find. We know the victim was facing towards the wall at the time of the crime. It's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. There.
Take that!
The killer had to be standing well, here. You get points for the flare, but that's all you get. I thought I was onto something there, too. I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. The victim is facing a solid cupboard. Or are you claiming that the killer climbed to the cupboard and hit him from above? It's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, that means that the very moment of the crime. Wait, I know. The moment of the crime, the cupboard, wasn't there. What is this now? I mean, that is the only explanation, right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately. Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try and move the cupboard. Ah, Your Honor? What? There's one more thing and your men should look for. Let's give this the bailiff. Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. I'll do my best. No! Well, let's forge ahead while we wait. Oh, look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. The killer was standing here at the time of the crime. And this cupboard wasn't here, which means... Follow, try moving the cupboard. Ooh. Thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it had to have been shown here. Oh. And everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my! What's this? What is it now? Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. Appears we found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Huh? Oh dang. I notice something, Apollo? The line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. Now then, Mr. Justice, please point out this new contradiction. This sucks. Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, the second witness, the third witness, or the sixth witness? I'd be this guy.
Take that!
About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window to the stairs. Ah. That's right. Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone, like Mr. Gavin. What? What did you say? Oh, is the coolest defense in the West losing his cool? Ugh. I don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And someone was. Well, the window to the room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court exactly where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor. Order. This court will law and I will have order. We just now received word from our investigation to the Borscht Gold Club. Examine the cupboard in the hideout, Your Honor. Oh? What did they find? Well, Your Honor, turns out there's a secret passage behind it. What? Ooh. Ah, yes. I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks to the room of our regulars know about. I do remember him saying something about that now that he mentions it. Secret passage is a handy thing to have when you're engaged in illegal going-ons. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. The room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side it connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses would get away from the cops. And enjoy a cool bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. We got him. You see where our line of simple deduction reasoning has led us to? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked, and the victim's hat was only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin, come on, say something. Dare I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. There he crouched hidden in the secret passage behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting just for the right moment. Then the chance came, and he took it. Ugh. Eek! Wait, why did they do that? Wait, where? I'll tell you so. Miss Olga Orley was out cold struck by Mr. Smith. But this time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shoddy Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious killer. Why did he murder him? And our killer stepped out from the secret passage and into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to the milk can. After the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized that he needed to destroy the evidence. A single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him, he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor. And the fact that they were all red. Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne! Yes, Your Honor. Prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion. Fuck! Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately.
Objection!
Oh, no need to apologize. I'd rather enjoy myself. Not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin. Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber was taken in by such low-grade parlor trick. Excuse me? The defendant is cleared of all suspicion? This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anybody else. But me, his own defense attorney. Illegal evidence?
Objection!
Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. A bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright is drinking. How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? And not just any fingerprints. Am I right, Mr. Payne? Actually, yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. Or in this case, demand an explanation. I can't think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down. That is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor. See how the codfish swims to the last? Well, Apollo? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that. Yeah? Just like that, what? Why would anyone grab the bottle upside down other than to go? Don't let him trick you into thinking explanation's the only legitimate one. Is there really another? I'm gonna look at the court record. We will find a simple answer where the plaintiff in plain sight. How about you just say the answer in plain words? It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions indeed. Well, Mr. Justice. Mr. Gavin said of the court, in this case, demand an explanation. Don't worry, Justice won't leave until justice is done. Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle were upside down? Fingerprints were upside down. Why was he upside down? I don't think I have evidence, actually. Look who's here. Yeah, I don't have evidence. Okay, I don't have evidence? What does he have to explain why the fingerprints of the bottle were upside down? What is it to grab from the crate?
Take that!
It's actually easier to show you than explain, Your Honor. I wouldn't really grab it from upside down. I would grab it from like... Oh, maybe. Actually, it depends on the position. Excuse me, on the floor? Yes, now reach down and pick it up. Without getting out of your chair. You'd still grab it up. Wouldn't you? Unless it was like behind your chair, then yeah, you'd pick it up from upside down. See, you naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck. With your fingers upside down. Not necessarily, unless it was behind your chair. The night of the murder, the defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottle of grape juice on the floor to the side of the piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottle upside down several times. Wow, I can't believe it was that simple. I ordered dinner that evening, Kristoff. I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you use the bottle on the table to do the deed. But then you must have remembered. So you went to pick up one of the bottles from under the piano. You switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Red's bottle and made it look like the murder weapon. Order. 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 What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? You claim that I switched the bottles. Where is your proof? Proof? Well, that's, as I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty.
Objection!
I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, you initiate the investigation of the hideout earlier. You recall I requested of additional investigation? Yes, I have your memo right here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Forest Bowl Club. And here's one of the bottles in question. Huh. What are you doing to dust that for fingerprints too? I would be surprised if any were on that, but his. The guy probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake true. That bottle won't appear trace of anything. Say, Apollo, why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? Why? Just humor me. Mr. Wright. That bottle will solve this case once and for all. What? That's some bottle. Oh. The card! The 5 of hearts. There's something inside the bottle. Ooh. 3D. What's this? Card, it can't be. I recall that unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. God, they're all mean. Miss Orley? Yes, our little swindling Devocha. That night I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hand, just like he was supposed to. And Mr. Smith searched him. The planted card was gone. The trap failed. Wait, this isn't... telling me this is the planted card you disposed of? One you mentioned in this piece of testimony. I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. There's an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. Five of hearts. This is that card. Bottles were swapped. The only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night. You, Mr. Kristoff Gavin. Hmm? Oh. Ah! There's an earthquake! His levitating powers. He's angry. That is all. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge? Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago? My past is like my logic, straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we could have had this little tete-a-tete, right? This is insane. What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone? Yeah, he was really just along for the ride. I believe this time we finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Kristoff Gavin? He's admitted everything. We're prosecuting his arrest now. I see. So one has to wonder why you would do such a thing. Didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he? There's no motive. Mr. Wright, have you anything to add? I'm afraid I can't shed on any more light on the matter. Otto's victim, Mr. Shoddy Smith. His occupation is listed as a traveler. On professional duty, sure. That's all we know about this pin. I'll arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honor. Good. Mr. Wright? 7 years, and you still haven't lost your touch. Christoph Gavin. The man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer. He's extremely talented, to be sure. I needed 2 things before I could confront him. First was the place where no injustice would be tolerated, this courtroom. The second was a man who could tolerate no injustice. In other words, defense attorney. You, Apollo. Me? This is dark times of our legal system. Twisting of justice brought on by our very own initial trial system. We have to set it right. Mr. Wright? Our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. Well, it seems like a good time to announce a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Not guilty! Hooray! Woo! Whee! Court is adjourned. Is that the end? Oh no. Thanks, Apollo. You came through just like I thought you would. I'm impressed. Sure, I did do a thing in there. It was you cornered Mr. The killer. I couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too today. Your ability. Ability? Yes, sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. Wait, I wonder if you miss. I have one question for the witness, and we have already seen this. Of course, what is this? What? What was that, Mr. Wright? You have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer? Right. It was full of questions without answers. What was them about Mr. Gavin? What possible reason could he have had to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me, I met the girl whose picture is in your locket. I really like showing this. Your daughter, right? That's right, she's my daughter. You know, you're right about this locket. Eh? Took this off the neck of his neck the night he died. Looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. Truth is, this locket really did belong. Did he just steal someone's daughter? Wait, but that's perjury! You testified, you said that locket was yours. I said no such thing, actually. Huh? You really said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. It's not the same, but distinct none. Why would a guy have a... Wait, but then why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside of it? Sometimes the strangest paths, the truth isn't the best. At time, still just starting with your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin the offices after all. So I believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo? Yes? How about coming to work for me? Eh? You mean the Wright & Co. law offices? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, but didn't you... You're not a... Oh, I turned over in my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney anymore. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. At the middle of it all, was one man. Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion when he left the law for good. Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in a court of law, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There's a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? Think about the evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick. One piece of evidence struck me as odd, it's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect. But this was the forged piece of evidence. The card! Oh, wrong button. I'm back.
Take that!
I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that card shouldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left, leaving the wrong card at its place, luckily for us. The court can't accept this evidence as fraud. Fraud? How can you be so sure? The only person who can credit this, already seen this. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. And you really? Yes, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. You can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. You know, he's not an attorney. So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters much now, does it? Gerard. Oh, did he punch him? I punched him! It's your story from here on out, Paulo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office address, drop in if you like. Mr. Wright. Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, take that, next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today, I had a good time. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved, and at the time, I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find that out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins. Yay! We got to the end of the trial! Hooray! Well, that's the end of that. Ooh, yay! Oh, so long!